Guys, your property's been on the market for weeks and weeks and weeks. No one wants to buy it. And then last minute, you've got 3 buyers all competing. Buy a bull rush. Is it fact or fiction? We're going to be speaking about it today. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Hello, everyone out there in social media world.
Yes. Good morning to everyone.
This is an interesting topic. I was talking with a client yesterday, and he's buying up the coast. He's like, mate, this is crap. He said the property's been on the market for like 16 weeks, 15 weeks, whatever it has. Now the agent's got 3 buyers on it. I've put my offer in like 2 days ago. Now there's 3 buyers on it, including me. He said, Is it true? Is it not true? How does it happen? And we just wanted to break that down to understand, is it happening? You know, is it real? And just to run through it. It's weird.
It's really strange, and it can come across a little bit very strange to a buyer, especially when you've seen a property sit in the market for a very long time. Now the agent's all of a sudden telling you there's multiple buyers on it, and you're like, it doesn't really stack up. If people didn't want it 3 weeks ago, then why is there all of a sudden multiple people on it now? And look, the bottom line is when you're selling a property, it's not that straightforward. Just because a property's online with a particular price at a particular time does not mean that in the market there's going to be the perfect buyers all lined up straight away, especially in the market we've seen at the moment where it's so choppy. It really depends. It depends if that right person walks through. And it's uncanny, isn't it, Mark? Because the right people always seem to come together at the same time.
It really does happen from the agent's perspective. I know from a buyer's perspective, I went to buy something and property was sitting around for a while, made an offer. I got the final call from the real estate agent, and I was like, yeah, and he's like, you know what, I can't tell you the price. And it's like, just tell me what the other offer is. And agents generally won't and don't. That's why auctions are good, because you can see an open field of offers, real people, real buyers. And then you're going, you know, the emotions are flying. There must be like hundreds and thousands of conversations that you have, or hundreds of conversations in that 24 hours prior to it exchanging. And you're talking to your wife, to your friends, to anyone that can help, and like, is this the real thing? Are there real buyers? The particular property I'm talking about that I was buying sold to another buyer, and then you get that nail in the coffin call saying it's sold, and it's sold to someone else. Normally they tell you the price, and you're going like, I could have had it at that price. I should have paid more. It's a deadly call. It's a deadly call, and then you've got to re-ask. You go, it's actually exchanged, and they go, yes, it's actually exchanged with no cooling off or whatever it is. Yeah, it's definitely gone. So it's out there in the real world now. In the market that we've seen the last 12 months, where it's been a little bit scrappy, a little bit quiet, it's even harder to believe that there is this bull rush that happens prior. You just go like, mate, it's interest rates are going up. There's no other buyer or buyers. Like, no. Yeah,
exactly. And look, as a buyer, you got to think, why are you interested in the property? There's got to be certain reasons that you're interested in it, whether it works for you and your family to live in, whether it works as an investment for you, if the price is right. And if you're interested at a particular price point, chances are there's going to be someone else out there that sees similar value to yourself as well. And that's where it tends to come in. So what we found is when a property's been sitting on the market for a number of weeks, and then one person comes in and has interest at a particular level, and then obviously the agent's speaking with multiple buyers, okay, we've got interest at this sort of rough ballpark now. Buyers love to know that they're buying something that other people want. And I think the biggest thing about this bull rush is the psychology behind it. I really think that Yeah, it doesn't matter how, within reason, doesn't matter how good of a deal or how bad of a deal it is. We've seen in the peak of the market when everyone knows they're overpaying, but they can't help themselves because everyone else is overpaying. So you've got to secure the property. It's the same thing that when there's been a property in the market for, like you said, 16 weeks, and then all of a sudden one person wants it, someone goes, ooh, or someone else wants it. There must be an opportunity now that didn't exist before. And then everyone jumps in at the same time. It's uncanny.
And what do you do if you're a buyer? Like, do you, I know Tate here just said you got that phenomena of paying too much. Do you go that little bit more? I personally think you've got to just take a step back, have a good long hard think about how sad will you be if you miss out. And if it's a bearable, if it's bearable, it's like, okay, that's gonna be my final offer. If it's not bearable, where you're like, man, I'm just gonna, if someone pays $5 more, 5,000 more, I'm gonna be absolutely livid.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you've got a pretty good barometer. You have seen more properties in that core market than the real estate agent themselves. So if you're buying something for 500,000, you've looked at 15, 25 properties for 450 to 550. The real estate agent hasn't been through that many properties to gauge price. So as much as you doubt yourself, there's probably no better connoisseur or doctor or advisor on price than yourself, because you've seen them all.
Yeah, very true. On the flip side, for someone who's still in the buyer situation there, you got to stick to your guns and understand what you're looking for in a property. And this is my opinion of it, don't fall into the sheep mentality with it. Of course, when you're in the situation where there's a couple of other people, follow exactly what Mark said there. But I find a lot of buyers, when they know that no one else is on the property and they're the only one on the property, they go, ooh, there must be something wrong with it. And they will wait weeks and weeks and weeks until there are multiple other buyers in the property, and then they'll jump in last minute and then they'll have to pay more. So I really think you got to stick to your guns, know what you're looking for in a property. Like you said, Mark, the majority of these buyers have seen more properties of that exact property type than the agent themselves over that past, let's say, 4-week period. You know what you're looking for, and especially if you've got the right people advising you as well. You know what to look for in strata, you know what you're looking for in the property. And if it ticks the boxes, why are you waiting for someone else to come in and start competing against you before you decide to finally buy it? It's that safety I think people get in numbers, knowing that if someone else wants it, then it can't be that bad. But you really got to be, I guess, it sounds a little bit airy-fairy, but true to yourself in terms of knowing exactly what you want. And if it's there and no one else wants to buy it at the time, count your lucky stars, negotiate, and see if you can secure it. Waiting around for someone else, literally, especially when it ticks all your boxes, is just asking to pay more.
But why? One thing I don't get, we've talked about it from a buyer perspective. We talked about it from an agent perspective. We're talking about it now from a seller perspective. Sellers aren't that transactional. They wouldn't know. They're like, okay, well, great, there's 2-3 people. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah. I don't understand. When you collate the buyer, the agent, the seller, what actually creates that bull rush in the end? It's not going on in my head. I've done enough sales to know.
Yeah.
What creates that? It's the weirdest thing. And it's real. When it's real, it's real. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there may be one buyer and a bunch of buyers that aren't, up there in price.
Yeah.
That fear of missing out. Like, is it because it's Michael? We shake our heads every time. We still do.
Yep. It's the perception of value. That's my answer to it. What if you can't measure? How do you decide what to pay, guys? Great question. When you've got a property like that, they're a unique property, everyone's going to have their own way of working out the value with it. Some people are going to work on this formula, other people are going to work on that formula. The bottom line is, as a buyer, you got to work out for you, look at other comparable sales, even though there's nothing similar, and you're going to work out, and you're going to have your own barometer in your head. Because if you work on someone else's barometer, you're always going to feel like you've probably paid the wrong amount for the property. You got to follow your gut with it, stick within the budget. If it seems to stick within, better properties have sold for X, worse properties have sold for Y, even if they're not exactly the same, and you're in the rough ballpark, especially generally if it's a unique property, it's an owner-occupier, you won't know. You won't know exactly. But once you're in it for the next 10, 20 years, it relegates the risk.
Okay, I'm going to try to apply science to something that's a little bit emotional.
Go.
Across the buyer, across the seller, across the real estate agent. Why does this happen? That moment, Michael, when we're in the office as a sales team and someone goes, oh, you're going to do a best and fairest. Oh, there's a couple of people on it. It's like, what created that? Well, it's because even us as salespeople are like, no, really, like, is it? It must be a culmination of a lot of things, because I can't put my one finger on it and say, bang, that's the reason. But what would be the culmination of things if you were counting on your hand that you would say would arrowhead towards that bull rush? If you've just tuned in, guys, what we're talking about is when a property is on the market a really, really long time, it is almost unsaleable. Next thing you know, you got 2 or 3 buyers all offering similar amounts of money on the property, all vying for the property right in that last moment. We've called it today a bull rush. Michael, what would be the science behind it in summary? Like, what's arrowheading towards all this?
Yeah, so there's not. Yeah, I'll go through all the factors. I think they all point to one sort of point, and the point is the perception of the value. If there's perceived value there, people will go for it. And what's that perception of value made up of? It's the actual value of the property itself. So in terms of how good of a property is it, how big is it, how many square meters, how desirable is it in terms of location, renovation, all that sort of stuff there. The second part is how many people are interested in the property. Because if you've got multiple parties interested, once again, it pushes towards that perception of value with it. It doesn't matter how long it's been on the market, it will start to grow from it as well. How good is the agent at their job, at creating urgency? That definitely plays a factor as well, because an agent that sells a property well creates that value in the property. An agent that doesn't do their job well doesn't really portray the value the way it should be, and people don't feel it and they won't pay as much also. So I think
it's also delicate close. Like, sometimes it's got to be a real fast close sale. Sometimes you've got to slow it down just a little bit to give buyer 2 and 3 the opportunity to get their final offer in. So I think you're right. It comes down to the agent there. Correct.
Yeah, you got to read the play. It depends on the buyers that are on the property. It depends on the vendor. At the end of the day, it's the vendor's call as well. We're there to advise the vendor. But if a vendor says, no, I need it closed out by today, no matter what, that's their instructions, you work with it. If they go, no, I'll let you go to your own devices, you just work it out, do it the fairest way possible, get me the best possible price, then you do it as well. So there's so many other factors at play that sort of point towards that head. But I genuinely think the head of it is the perception of value. It's made up of actual value, and then it's made up of the fluff as well, where people get inside their own heads, multiple buyers. Like, you see it at an auction all the time, where a property probably should sell for X amount, and then it just keeps creeping up more, because people don't want to lose the person next to them. And if they're willing to pay that much, then it must be worth it. So I'm willing to pay a little bit more.
I also think there's confidence there when you know that it's not the only buyer. As a real estate agent, you negotiate harder and more confidently. More importantly, I think when you're a seller and you don't have, and you've don't got one buyer, but you've got 3, you're probably a little bit more confident and aggro. So I think you're actually, everyone's posture becomes better whereas you sort of firm up a little bit, you get a bit of a rod up your back, and you're like, we're doing this when you're a seller, because you got a couple there. In conclusion, what I would like to say and what I would liken it to, and I'm going to apply my science to musical chairs. It's the musical chairs moment. This bull rush moment is when the music's stopping and you know it's going to stop. You've been told it's going to stop, and there's only a limited amount of seats. You will not get one. I think everyone literally rushes to sit down when that music stops. So it's that musical chairs moment that's created. It's more often than not real, because that's what goes on buyers' heads again. Am I being just closed here, or is this the real thing?
Yeah.
I think a quality agent is generating quality interest, quality competition, and it's real.
Yeah. It's a great way to put it. And if there's no music and there's unlimited chairs, then everyone just moseys down and sits down whenever they want.
Everyone's got heaps of time.
Analogy.
Everyone's, whatever, let's have a drink, let's have something to eat. But when you know the music's going to stop, that's that moment with that property that we can best explain it. So it is a real thing. It happens in a market, in a buyer's market. It happens in a seller's market. It happens in a weak market. It happens in a soft market. And it's a real thing. It's that bull rush moment or that musical chairs. It's literally like telling your buyers you're going to play musical chairs.
Correct. It just happens to be in a strong market. It appears straight away, as opposed to in a weaker market. Sometimes it's after 1 week. Sometimes it's after 16 weeks. It sort of gets delayed, but once it hits, it hits.
Luke Moroney loves the nervous tension of a deal.
Of course, the buyer's agent's going to say that. That makes sense. That's what he thrives on.
Thrives on it. He thrives on it.
Very good.
Hey, just out of interest, what are the on-the-ground numbers that you're seeing? Like, how many people did you have through an average last weekend? What?
Yeah, so get this. So obviously last weekend being the Easter long weekend, we still had opens on Saturday. We've been reporting strong numbers. I'm sure you guys have seen literally the past coming month, week on week, it's been increasing. Last week was no different. Public holiday or not, we had probably some of the biggest numbers we've seen on average in the 20s for a lot of open homes, into the 30s. And then our largest open home of the day was just shy of 50 groups. So literally, in terms of, to give everyone a gauge out there, those sorts of numbers is what we were seeing at the peak of the market about 14 months ago. It's crazy numbers.
Tate said that we're world class.
Very calm. Well clad.
And he had massive numbers.
Yeah, there we go. It seems to be that, once I guess we're on the northern beaches of Sydney, but Sydney seems to be the headway in terms of when prices are going up, prices are going down. And then very quickly, I find it sort of spreads out to Greater Sydney, so it all follows.
There you go. That's the show, guys. Hopefully it helped you with something that's boggling around in people's heads when they're buying. Have a great day. Anything else to say, Mr. Silic?
That's it. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Mark. Cheers.
Love you. See you. Bye.